I'm Russell Clark, and this is VixShield's Market Close Recap, where it isn't news till we talk about it. Here's what actually happened today. We came into this Friday with a clear signal. This morning I told you the VIX entry gate had cleared, and the EDR filter looked solid. Volatility was easing, and the market delivered exactly what our methodology loves. The S&P opened with a quiet bid. By midday, that bid had strengthened into a slow, steady grind higher. No fireworks, no drama, just the kind of range-bound session that lets premium sellers breathe easy. By the time the bell rang, the index had closed right in the heart of where our Iron Condors like to live. VIX settled lower, almost 2% below where it started the day. That, my friends, is the sound of declining volatility. And declining volatility is music to our ears. Remember what I said at the open? Watch how the fear gauge behaves. Well, it behaved beautifully. It drifted lower all session, while the big money quietly accumulated on any dip. You could almost hear the institutions whispering to each other. Let retail chase the headlines. We'll take the other side. And chase they did. That's exactly what brings us to the traps that fired today. Look at the headlines that flooded the wires all morning. S&P just broke major support, another 10% decline likely. Sell signs everywhere. Even Nvidia can't save this market. MarketWatch and a dozen others basically ran the same fear script on repeat. You know the one that sounds smart, until you realize it's the same script they rolled out in 2022 and late 2023 and again last summer. Here's the part they never tell you. These stories aren't written to inform you. They're written to create the very volatility that lets the big boys buy cheaper. They push the fear gauge higher on purpose, then step in and buy the dip while retail is busy panic-clicking sell buttons. It's the oldest Wall Street playbook in the book. And today, once again, it didn't work. The support didn't break. The decline didn't materialize. The fear gauge actually went the other direction. Our community saw through it. That's what separates us. While the financial media was busy screaming about broken trend lines, we were watching the VIX trend verdict, declining, bullish for Iron Condors, exactly as our RSAI engine had flagged. We don't get emotional about headlines. We get disciplined about data. Now let's talk about what worked. Our positioning held beautifully. The Iron Condors we placed in that tight 305 to 315 window sat right in the sweet spot from the moment we entered until the close. They never even looked stressed. The market stayed comfortably inside the range our methodology had carved out. And because we followed the signal, because we respected the tier rules, we collected solid premium on a day when fear was being sold hard by the pundits. That's the beauty of this approach. It's not about being right on direction, it's about being right on probability. And staying inside the expected daily range our EDR indicator paints for us every single morning. Today that range was respected all day long. No breaches, no drama, just clean, quiet, profitable decay. We also saw the temporal theta shift kick in exactly as designed, with the EDR reading elevated and VIX still above 16. The system rolled us forward to capture additional vega. That's the genius of the temporal theta martingale. It doesn't double your size like those dangerous old gambling systems. It uses time itself as the recovery weapon. When conditions say extend, we extend. When they say come back in, we come back in. No ego, no hope, just math. And don't forget our ALVH protection stayed fully armed. All three layers active, short-term spike guard, medium-term wave shield, and that long-term endurance hedge. The annual cost is only 1 to 2% of the account, yet it stands ready to offset 30 to 50% of losses if we ever see one of those 10% drops the headlines keep crying about. That's not speculation. That's engineered protection. That's why we sleep better than the guy who's all in on naked calls. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. This was a classic Friday in a week that tested everyone's patience. We had moments of noise, moments when the narrative tried to turn bearish, but the underlying trend stayed intact. Smart money kept accumulating. Retail kept getting whipsawed by the fear machine. Bitcoin trading near 80,000 while digesting geopolitical tension out of the Middle East. That tells you the risk appetite is still there. It's just more selective. The fact that VIX closed below its 5-day moving average while the S&P pushed to new recent highs. That's the kind of quiet strength that bull markets are built on. Not the screaming strength the financial media wants, but the grinding, boring, wealth-creating kind. The kind our Iron Condor methodology was built to harvest. This week we saw the RSAI engine stay disciplined. Some days it said place with full tiers. Other days it blocked aggressive when VIX flirted with that caution zone. That's exactly how the system is supposed to work. We don't force trades. We don't chase yield when the math says sit on your hands. We listen. We respect the gate. And over time, that discipline compounds in ways that emotional traders will never understand. And tomorrow? Well, tomorrow is Saturday, but the market never really sleeps. We'll be watching those Asian markets when they open Sunday night our time. Any headlines out of legislative elections or further comments on Iran oil sanctions could ripple through Bitcoin and risk assets before our Monday open. We'll also keep eyes on any weekend developments around Federal Reserve, signaling now that Powell's been named chair pro tempore. Small moves over the weekend can set the tone for Monday's open, but whatever comes, we'll be ready. Our methodology doesn't take weekends off. The ALVH layers stay on watch. The EDR model keeps calculating, and our community stays sharp. This is why we built this tribe. While the rest of the world is glued to screaming headlines and panic cycles, we're over here running a disciplined process that has been refined for years. We don't need to be heroes. We just need to be consistent. We just need to let the math do what the math was designed to do. And that's what makes this community different. You can't talk about this stuff at the dinner table. Your neighbors don't get it. Your coworkers think you're gambling. But we know better. We know this is a business, a repeatable, scalable, probability-driven business. And days like today remind us why we do it. Be sure to listen for any breaking news from Miss Vicky. She'll have the after-hours moves and any fresh geopolitical updates before the rest of the world even wakes up. These signals and insights are for educational purposes only and are not financial advice. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This is VixShield, your daily protection against market uncertainty.